Join us as we explore Madrid, a city renowned for its stunning architecture and vibrant plazas. Walk the bustling streets with us, including the famous Gran Via. We share our favorite cremeria and eat at Botin, the oldest restaurant in the world. We also weave through the serene but vibrant Retiro Park. Experience the charm of La Latina. Take in the majestic Royal Palace and visit the Reina Sophia Museum, home to world-renowned artworks. Let's uncover what makes Madrid so unique. I'm Judy.
And I'm Kevin. Welcome back to Find Gina Marie, where we share our lives as full-time travelers and the connections we make along the way.
Our Airbnb is in the Old Town, in the La Latina neighborhood, less than a 10-minute walk from Plaza Mayor. The location is super central to everything. Madrid is extremely walkable. Great restaurants and groceries and markets were everywhere, including the bustling Mercado de San Miguel. Attractions such as the Royal Palace was an easy 15-minute walk. Plaza Mayor has been the site of royal ceremonies, religious celebrations, bullfights, festivals, and sadly, even executions. You'll know you've arrived when you see the 3-story residential buildings with distinctive red brick facades and ornate balconies. And of course, the equestrian statue of King Philip III is in the center of the plaza. Mercado de San Miguel is a historic food market in the heart of Madrid. You'll find traditional Spanish tapas, fresh seafood, pastries, wine, paella, and so much more. It was bustling every time we visited, so be prepared for crowds, including locals. There's seating, but good luck snagging some, especially if it's still under construction when you visit. So I wanted to try some paella. This is a chicken paella with some vegetables. Wow, look at the size of these, I think broad beans? They're very broad.
How's the spice? Mild?
Mild. I wouldn't say spicy at all. It's good. I like that the rice is not overdone. It's kind of got a little bit of tooth to it, which I think is what you want. So what do you have there, Kevin?
So I got 2 paella or whatever they're called. This one is pulled pork, barbecue sauce and tartar sauce. And this one's just sliced pork, and it has Japanese stir-fried bits. I was mainly interested in this one. The other one looked good too. Didn't know the barbecue sauce and the tartar sauce would go together. They actually do. Pulled pork is nice. The other one looks like it has a skewer in it. So a much larger piece of pork. I think I prefer these shredded pork. Definitely better. It seems more filling as a bite, but then you don't get the whole thing together because it's on a skewer. So you kind of miss the whole treat of it.
Would you do it again?
This one had the shredded pork.
One of the things that I've been really surprised about in visiting Madrid is how these streets aren't really at 90-degree angle.
Yeah, everything seems to be shaped in the pattern that the streets were originally.
It makes for just very
Pleasant looking buildings, a nice variety. Like that building on the right, it's got a nice little curve to it. It's beautiful.
Now, it's not a surprise that right along this is high-end shopping row.
Sure.
It's definitely beautiful here.
Yeah. There are plenty of subway entrances and exits around Madrid, but we found that if you're walking through the streets, it's not really that hard to do. You don't need a subway to get around Madrid, and if you're down there in the subway, you're going to miss some really cool buildings, some architecture, some shops, maybe a restaurant that looks good to you. So we say use the subways if you're going a long way, but if you can walk the distance instead, go for it. It's a good idea.
So we've been walking along Gran Via at the suggestion of one of our viewers, and it's been absolutely incredible. It definitely feels like New York City vibes with a bunch of the live video advertising on tops of buildings, but then all of this really beautiful architecture.
Really rich area of town, obviously. A lot of high-end shops, very pretty buildings, and very lovely street.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool area. I definitely feel like if you're looking for some long walk to take, this is the one because it's beautiful. We've been stopping and taking pictures so much that it's taking forever to get anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think we got to walk in. Certainly got a lot of photos.
We heard about the El Reista flea market, so it's Sunday. We decided we would come and check it out.
And thankfully, it's a little bit cooler today because yesterday it was about 7 degrees warmer. You get a little bit of a breeze in the shade.
I don't know. I think it's a really hot day. One variation or another of this market has been around since 1740. Right now there's about 1,000 stalls here, and they're all spread out. It sounds like each particular area has their own specialty. We're in an area right now that looks like it's got clothes, and
yeah.
We'll see what it's all about. But there's some music playing in certain areas, and I don't know, it feels a little festive.
Yeah, nice. Okay, Judy was talking about the hot weather, so putting on heavy coats and trying them out is not exactly something I would think about doing. This is the wrong season for telling me to invest in coats.
I'm quite surprised how crowded this market is. It opened at 9 a.m. and it closes around 3, and it's about 12:30 now. And there are a lot of people to be shuffling through. It reminds me of some of the night markets in Thailand.
Well, you said they warned us to go early, and now this is the reason. We're shuffling. Definitely doing the market foot shuffle.
When people tell you to go early, listen.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, here's a whole nother section on a downhill street, which means eventually we're going to have to come back uphill.
And you kind of do need to watch where you're walking because there are stairs, and if you're not paying attention, if you're looking around, it's easy to trip. And if you're a Taylor Swift fan, this is a little bit of a nod to Tortured Poets Society and writing a poem on a typewriter.
Right in the middle of the market.
Clever idea.
So we've been near this area. We've been in Latina quite a few times for breakfast and other things. And this is the El Rastro area, which is next door to it. And this whole area of town is really nice. It feels like it's less touristy, less congested. Well, not today. Today it's quite congested. But normally it feels like, yeah, if you want to chill, you don't want to go down near any of the major tourist areas, Latina is good. And we should have checked out El Rastro. We should, after it gets done with this market, see what it's like.
Especially because I feel like some of the prices are a little more reasonable here for restaurants than what we're seeing in other parts.
So we're on our way to a museum, but before we go, we decided that we each needed a little bit of fortification to kind of make it to the long walk and throughout the museum.
It's a hot day.
Yeah, so we're at cremeria. It's an Italian creamery, which probably makes some of the best gelato ice cream. So. I've got bonbon and dark chocolate fondant. This part is quite delicious, and she did a good job. The top of it had, the top of the barrel had some crunchy stuff on top, and she added that on at the end so that you were sure, no matter where she scooped it from, that you get some of that goodness.
Yeah, I got that with my stracciatella too. She did the same thing. A little spoonful. Make sure we got some of the crispy bits.
Very tasty.
Good.
So we're here at the Reina Sophia Museum, and we're excited to check it out. It's one of the most famous museums in Madrid, and it's primarily dedicated to 20th century art. Now, normally we're not really interested so much in modern art, but there's Pablo Picasso here and Salvador Dali, and we're interested in checking those out. Although it's modern art, this is actually an 18th century former hospital. There's tons of exhibits here. I'm not sure we're gonna have time for all of those. Come on in. Hearing about this painting when we were in France. It was created in 1937 in response to the bombing of the Basque town of Guernica during the Spanish Civil War. It's 11 feet high and 25 feet wide. It's, of course, depicting the suffering and chaos of war, particularly focusing on the impact on civilians. Yeah, so it seems like the more you look at it, the more there is to discover about it. So we almost missed this room because we were on our way out, and it turns out that this is the postscript to the Guernica large piece of art by Pablo Picasso, and I know it's quite fascinating, this entire room.
So we're in front of the Museo del Prado, which we can't take photography in, we can't take any pictures or video, so we haven't really gone in there. But we're looking at the huge line of people, knowing that it would probably be really hard to get in at this time of day anyway.
Well, it's impossible. We tried to get tickets and they're all sold out for several days ahead of us. So unless you're going to do like a skip the line tour and work through a tour guide, it's going to be really hard. The museum was founded in 1819 by King Ferdinand VI. And it's an older building even than that. It was originally a history museum. I think because it's so big, it probably does make sense to go in with a guide and like really understand what you're seeing. In addition to famous Spanish artists like El Greco and Velázquez, there is also European famous artists like Rubens and Rembrandt. And not only is it just an art museum, but it's also an art restoration and research museum. So it's expansive. It's one of the most preeminent of all museums in Spain, so it's definitely worth making some time for it.
I guess schedule ahead and get your tickets early.
Since we have some free time, we're going to head over to Retiro Park and check that out. It's bigger than Hyde Park in London.
It's actually massive on the map. I don't know if we're going to check out much of it. It's a good long walk around it.
There's a lot to see.
So walking into this park, the first thing I saw was there's a lot of benches, there's a lot of shady areas, there's a lot of detours, there's a main big pathway in, but then there's all these little offshoots and people just sitting on the grass or sitting on the benches, just relaxing. It looks like a really nice tree-filled, just public park. You know, exactly what you want in a big city. Someplace where you can just take your kids and just relax and maybe have a picnic.
Oh, completely. I think lunch here would be a great idea. This originally was a royal park created for King Philip IV in the 17th century. And I think that it's pretty entitled to be a king and to build a park, not necessarily for the country's pleasure, but for your own. But it's great that this is a public park and everyone can enjoy it. And it's free. And It's open till I think 10 o'clock at night.
If it was just for him, it's so big. I mean, we're not even going to try to do this whole thing. It's just, we found some nice shaded areas. We walked around some trees. I think that's good.
Well, there's a Crystal Palace that I am looking forward to seeing, so we're going to have to find that. And it also mentions that you can rent a rowboat, so there's a lake as well.
Okay.
Or at least a water feature.
We may be walking more
Could
than
be a
I
river.
thought. Could be the ocean. She doesn't know. Some sort of water feature. Puddle. Some rain. There's a puddle.
One of the things I do suggest is picking up some bottled water on your way in. We were able to get some ice cold water, and I think that's making a stroll through the park a lot easier on a really hot day. I mean, we're sweating in at 6:30 at night.
If you forget to grab water on your way in, there's nobody standing out there selling it. There's definitely places inside the park that you can buy food and water.
So now that I understand what they're talking about when they say you might want to rent a boat, this sounds like a lot of fun. I would actually like to do this. It's a good way to get exercise. It's on the water, so it's probably a little bit cool.
No. It doesn't look cool at all. Everyone looks very hot. I mean, there's some people over here in the shade. I think they picked that spot on purpose.
Okay, maybe the sun is beating down this late at night, but it's still pretty cool. Maybe if you came early in the day before the sun is at the top of the sky.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful. This is a great great scenery backdrop for doing something like this.
Yeah, nice little man-made lake. Very pretty.
Oh wow, look,
That's it.
I guess that's the glass palace.
Crystal Palace?
Crystal Palace.
Could downgrade the glass, but it's
Well,
called.
I do at least feel like it lives up to its name, which I don't know what I expected, but I don't think I expected that. It's beautiful.
And in front of the Crystal Palace is this lovely water feature. Ducks and beautiful fountain. Very serene. It's another lovely aspect to these parks.
There is something about some stringed instruments playing while you're looking at this magical place. I think it's a very smart thing, and it just really lends to the atmosphere. So go ahead and support the musicians when you're at places that have them. So can I admit I'm a little disappointed? For some reason I was expecting the floors to be made of either some sort of fancy marble or some beautiful tile work, but really it's just concrete. I'm assuming that maybe because things are closed off, that it's under renovation. Well, it says temporarily closed due to installations maintenance, but I don't know. There's a part of me that feels like the floors are not supposed to have anything on them. If you know anything about what's happening with the floors of the Crystal Palace, please let us know in the comments. Unless you book like months in advance for a small group tour, it is really hard to get something like that. We don't know that much about the royals. We know that this is a working palace and that there's still a monarchy here, of course, in Spain. And so we want to learn about it. And it made sense to do that versus just figure things out on our own and maybe not learn anything. The challenge is it's a group of 30 people, so it's going to be crowded. The Royal Palace has over 3,400 rooms, which I think makes it one of the largest palaces in the world.
Stay with the group. Don't get lost. We'll never find you again. 30 rooms. 300 rooms?
3,400.
What? Okay. 3,400. Yes, we will be lost. We'll stay with the group.
Our guide made a point of saying that although Versailles is technically bigger, it includes the gardens as well as the actual buildings. And this is the biggest palace in Europe because it only includes the building itself. So I guess France and Spain can battle it out. I had forgotten that the royal family is kind of bifurcated. The king is still alive and he had abdicated, and that his son is now the ruling king, and the former king is in self-imposed exile. There's been some scandal and there were some health issues.
And the royal family lives nearby, not in the central palace, right?
On the outskirts where there's more privacy.
Right. We're not going to bump into them in the halls.
Yes. But this is definitely significantly bigger than Buckingham Palace.
Oh, yeah. So we just finished with the palace tour, and it was amazing. Some of those rooms are so ornately decorated, I couldn't believe it.
Yes, it's really beautiful. In fact, one of the rooms that I thought was incredible actually was a chapel.
Room?
No, it was a chapel.
Oh, okay.
So that was interesting. But yes, the changing room of the king was exquisite, probably my favorite room.
And then you see the servants' room just after it, so plain, but it had a hidden door in it, so that was cool too.
Yes, in case there was war and king needed to get out of Dodge.
Yeah.
I thought it was well worth the money, and it was, I think there were 26 people in our group, but it was a very organized tour, and I didn't feel like it was such a big group. It worked out just fine.
Yeah.
And
Our guide was really good. She had a lot of good information and really frank conversations about the crown.
yes, it lasted not quite 2 hours, so it's not like a big lift out of your day, but I feel like with all of the history is very worthwhile to do.
Yeah, it felt like it was packed. I wouldn't hesitate to do this. It's really great.
Parque Madrid Río is an urban park running alongside the Manzanares River. It spans nearly 10 kilometers and is filled with gardens, playgrounds, biking and walking paths, and pedestrian bridges. There were loads of activities going on when we were there, including dancing near the Jardins del Campo de Moro. I'm not sure if it was some special event, but it felt very festive and fun.
We're here at Botin restaurant, and we are very lucky to have gotten a reservation. It's the only way you can get in. It is such a popular place.
And you got to make reservations fairly early. We got lucky with a cancellation, so we walked in the place, booked this evening only because somebody canceled.
We tried to book online and there was nothing available, so we came in person. But generally speaking, I would say book a month or more in advance if you want to get in. And why is this place so wildly popular? Well, according to the Guinness Book of World Records, it's the oldest recognized restaurant in the world. It was founded in 1725 by a French chef, and the full name of it now basically means Botin's nephew, and it was passed on to him.
So this line outside of Botin is all the reservations they have booked for, I guess, 8 o'clock. And we're at the end of it. We'll see how this works out. I've never seen this kind of setup. Of course, we didn't ever arrive at the restaurant, I think, when it's been this booked and right when it opens.
This is cool.
It looks very old. English, gracias.
So we decided to bring you along with us on what kind of feels a little bit like a date night. We haven't gone out to a really nice restaurant in quite a while, and this has just so much atmosphere, and it's been around since 1725, and there is an oven where they make suckling pig, a roasted suckling pig, and also a roasted lamb. We got the pig, or I got the pig. Kevin ended up with their filet
Specialty, yeah.
which is a specialty of the house. But the pig they make in the oven that's been around since 1725 blows my mind. I don't know. And we have a nice cozy little corner booth, and I don't know. It just feels really fun, and we're hoping you enjoy the evening as much as we do. Sorry you can't taste along with us, but we'll do our best. First course, I went ahead and got the fixed price menu. Everything looked so good on it. Of course, I had to. And gazpacho is only available seasonally, and I've been craving gazpacho while we've been here in Madrid. And even though it's kind of chilly here, it's really hot outside. It's 98 degrees.
I was gonna say, when you said chilly here,
in this
inside,
underground space.
Now, is gazpacho potato soup?
No. It's tomato. Tomato with vegetables, and it's all creamed together, so it's all very smooth. It's not too acidic. It's just a nice, mild flavor. It's good.
You can't burn your mouth on it.
No, definitely not. It's very tasty. It's a big bowl. They gave us 2 spoons, and I'm very happy about it.
So, first thing that came out for me was the mushrooms. And they supposedly have ham with them too.
Iberian ham.
Iberian ham. It's been a long time since I've had mushrooms. Had this much flavor. And tasted like we used to make them with butter and kind of saute them. They're really flavorful. So this is the filet mignon Botin, and smothered in mushroom and sauce, which I guess I made a mistake by ordering mushrooms. Didn't know it was going to come this way. So I'm getting a nice medium rare. So that's great.
Why? I'm going to cook on that. That is perfect. That is just how I want it. And the mushrooms are good, and they're very different than the other mushrooms. All right, so you got the
Suckling
set
pig.
meal, suckling pig.
Which I don't know what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting this. It's a little intimidating. The plate's very hot, and there is a ton of juice. I'm intimidated by it. I'm not gonna lie. But boy, can you hear the crispiness of that skin?
That could be good. Moist that skin. That's like your chips.
Quite frankly, I have no idea how to eat this or break it apart. So it will be an experience for you and for me. It's very moist, juicy, not too salty. I don't know. This is probably not how you're supposed to do it. But this is how
Well, there
I'm
you
doing
go.
it.
Rip a piece off. There you go.
It's good. It's not actually too dry.
Good.
It's nice. I like it.
I mean, they offer potatoes with a lot of their meals here. That's something we found in Spain in general. A lot of potatoes and things.
Really nicely done, and especially sitting in this bit of broth. It adds some flavor to them as well. So
Excellent.
it's got a lot of flavor for not putting anything on it.
Think we did well so far.
I think so too.
All right.
I'm going to preface this by saying that the meal I just had was enormous. Like the mushrooms alone would have been enough to fill somebody. Then that filet was large, and then they had the sauce, and then they had the mushrooms on top of it,
And there was some bread.
and I've had half a bottle of wine. So, I'm very full, but we have to get dessert, and this is their, is it granolas?
Known as cheesecake.
Known as
And it came as part of my fixed price menu.
Sure. So let's give this a try. Let's get a little bit of the fruit, some of the cream. It's a little softer, a little creamier. It's very tasty. Good flavors. I have no room for this, but it's still enjoyable. So we're going to eat it. It's going to be a team effort here, right, dude?
Yes. I will have a few bites.
You have half the bites. Yeah.
It feels kind of weird. We haven't had much opportunity to have like a date. I mean, we are together all the time, right? Every meal is a date. But this felt very special because it's maybe a little bit more extravagance than we would normally do. And we don't normally go to some place specific. We go to what place is open and how it can take us. So actually preparing in advance and
Having a reservation.
dressed up, I changed my clothes to go out to eat. It just felt very special. And when you're together all the time, that's not something that you always take the time to do. And it's been really, really nice.
Let me see.
So what did 28 days in Madrid cost us? Our Airbnb for a month in La Latina cost $1,699.86, or $56.66 per night. It was a great location at a great price, but it wasn't the best property. Metro from the train station to the center of Madrid where our Airbnb was cost us $4.83 per person. Tickets to the Reina Sophia Museum were $12.98 per person. Tickets to the Royal Palace through Viator were $32.80 per person. We found food to be fairly expensive in Madrid. We cut some costs by cooking in our Airbnb, but we still ended up going out for an occasional helado. The total price was $609.50 per person, or $21.76 per person per day. Breakfasts were typically around $5.50 per person. Dinner at Botin was an indulgence at $137.10. Our Uber ride from our Airbnb to the airport was $29.83 for both of us. Our total total cost per person was $1,539.87 apiece, for a total of $3,079.74. After Madrid, we headed to San Francisco to start our 3-week trip to visit family in the US. That flight cost us $896.60 per person.
Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this episode, we hope you'll subscribe. And the best compliment you can give to us is to share our videos with your family and friends.
And check out findinggmarie.com. You can find out more about us, articles, and our community forum.
Until next time.
Until next time.